everybody. Welcome to another episode of Self-Care Sunday. On this episode, we have a joining panel for the first time with our female and male panel, and we're going to be talking about our archetypes, how we identify ourselves based on our nature versus nurture statistics and our environment and how we contribute to our communities. So today, the first question, I'm going to begin with Akeem. You can start first. I would love to ask you what you feel your archetype is that you identify with and why you feel that way.
Okay, I think I identify most closely with, I'd say Alpha and Sigma. But again, it's situational. And as I'm coming to know myself more and realize that the Alpha was like default, but not always necessary. So I'm learning to kind of tweak it and fall back when I need to.
Definitely Alpha all day. I feel like mine's is situational too. I don't want to be Alpha. I don't want to be the person always in front, always leading, but I find myself in those situations often. And I think it's more about the people and, people that work for me or my family feel like, oh, she got it. She can take it. Like she can do it. She can do it because of what they've seen me do. But I prefer not to be in the front. I prefer to be in the back. I prefer to chill, but I feel like I'm always pushed to that point.
I think I'll go with the Sigma. I watched a little clip about it and looked at a few others, and I think the Sigma fit me perfectly. Not into the spotlight, rule my own domain on my own time, doesn't care what nobody think about me. I just do what I do. And at the same time, we still get respect. So I'll go with the Sigma.
Thank you. I call the Sigma the introverted Alpha. They're the same way. They behave the same, just on the low.
Yeah, I'm more of a, I'll sit back and watch everything unfold. I definitely was that type of person. I always was. So the truth is I didn't even know what that was until I saw that video, and I was like, okay, and I showed it to the wife, and she was like, yep, that's you. Yes, I guess I'll roll with the Sigma.
So I was just reading more up about it, but I think, the Sigma definitely aligns with me. And what it talks about is, it's just really somebody who values self-reliance above everything else. You know what I mean? When they look for enjoyment or fulfillment, it typically comes from a sense of like self, and it's less about needing to lead the pack and more about needing to find freedom and value in your own time and space. And where you go, value comes with you, kind of thing. So I think, the Sigma definitely aligns more with my personality.
I feel like I'm definitely attracted more to a Sigma man who has key Alpha tendencies, because I'm more of a laid back kind of person. I don't really like to be in the spotlight. If I do get compliments, it's fine, but I don't need them to continue my day. I just like to power through, get what I need to get done, and kind of fall back into the background a little bit. Not to say that it's a bad thing, but I like to watch more than I like to be a part of it. And I also feel like the Alpha tendencies that I do appreciate in a man aren't necessarily deal breakers if they don't have it. Like, I like someone who knows how to be a leader, but that's not a deal breaker if you like to be more of a follower. I just like someone who's more confident in themselves, but doesn't need to brag about it. And I feel like that tends to be more of an Alpha tendency which is why I say I push more for the Sigma.
Okay. Do you identify as a Sigma? Do you think that you are a Sigma female?
I feel like in my earlier years, I was definitely full Sigma. I would be all the way in the background. I didn't like to participate in a lot of things, but I wanted to make sure things were successful. And I think my career has brought me into more of an Alpha role because I have more of an opportunity to be a leader and take more control, which is something I didn't get back when I was younger.
I feel like I'm a Sigma looking at it now, but the term that got me was lone wolf. because I tend to do things, on my own, and I don't really mind that. So that's the main, I guess, thing that kind of stuck to me.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, but then looking at all of them, I felt like at some capacity, at some point in my life, I was one of those, right? So I kind of saw that as like a personal evolution, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so it was interesting. Thanks for giving me homework on top of homework. Thanks.
No problem. I was telling the girls earlier that I feel like everyone that's on this call would mostly identify as an alpha or a sigma, just because it does take a certain type of personality to be present in this conversation. I identify as an alpha. Definitely, I never wanted to be a follower. I don't march to anybody else's drums, and I'm a go-getter. I'm gonna get it done, and very, very focused and task-oriented in that way. And I agree that our careers and situations will bring out a different version of who we are. Not just same way that not all Democrats are the same and not all Republicans are the same. Not all alphas, sigmas, betas, gammas. We're not all the same, right? So in some situations, we may behave as an alpha and behave like a gamma or a beta in another situation. So with that being said, my questions now go into these archetypes of looking at who you are. So if you say you identify as an alpha, do you feel like you were born that way, or do you feel like your environment or your parents that raised you made you that way?
I think it wasn't a choice for me to be alpha. I felt like I didn't really have a choice. It was more of survival, you know, for me. And if I wanted my life to be a certain way, then I knew I had to take control because of what was going on in my family. I also knew that it wasn't going to happen unless I got it done. I knew that for sure. I knew that for sure. So that's why I said that, yeah, of course, for me, it is situational for me because I prefer not to be. I really do prefer not to be.
I agree. I agree with that. I feel like it is situational because, I mean, how I grew up, it was one of those things where that's what kind of molded me into the person that I am. Like I grew up in a very tough love type of household. You know what I mean? So it was one of those things where, I had to like adjust. And then that kind of like molded me into the person that I am, which with the whole lone wolf kind of thing. So it definitely depends upon how you were raised and also culture based and things of that nature. So it's a bit nuanced, if you will.
If I had to pick two archetypes, I wouldn't say it's the alpha and the sigma for me. I would say it'd be more of like the gamma and the sigma, because I've always been pushed to be very goal oriented, be strong at planning, know what you want to do, see all of the different angles before you make a decision. A family full of scientists, I guess that's why they like to have this trial and error period in their mind before they actually do something. So I would definitely feel like it's those two. And with those two being the main focus, the other archetypes came out in life, whether it be the leader on a team or leader in a group discussion or in my or in my job. Those qualities came out situational, like we all have said before. But I think if we had to talk from a family level, those two are for me.
I don't know. I think I was born the way I am. For example, just the other day, I was on social media, and for some reason, I decided to change my profile picture after probably 6 years, and everybody was just commenting like, "Wow, dude! I mean, really?" And for me, it's no big deal. Some people change theirs like 4 or 5 times a day. For me, it doesn't really matter. I don't put my family business on Facebook. I just scroll through, look at what's going on. You know what I'm saying? So for me, I think I'm always like that. I'm the type of dude that will come back, I'll step in the room, I'll sit in the back of the room, I'll read the room, see what's going on, feel that energy, see what everybody is saying. And if I can, if I input, I put it in and keep it moving. So for me, I think I was just born that way. You know, it's not, I wouldn't say it's an environment that made me who I am. I think I'm just like that. Of course, you know, the daily routine of life does make you adjust to whatever you need to, but you know, for the most part, I think I'm just who I am.
I think it's a combination. Like I think I was raised to be um, not an alpha female, but I was raised by an alpha female who I guess was trying to teach me, like, hey, I'm this way, but you don't have to be. Um, I don't want to say to be a little bit more like submissive and laid back, but those are the two words that are coming up in my head as to how like I was raised to be. But I am just not that way at all. So I think it's more nature than nurture in my case. I think I've always been like this.
Okay.
I hope that came out. That sounded better in my head than how it came out, but yeah.
No, it's fine. No, it's fine.
Okay.
Actually, you just brought me to my next question of, do you feel like, okay, let me get the guys first. Guys, do you feel like you were raised to be an alpha male? So I want the guys to answer that. Do you feel like you were raised to be an alpha man, or that you are expected to be an alpha man?
I guess I'll start. I don't think I was raised to be an alpha man. My dad, I think I guess he was just naturally a Sigma. And that's why this was kind of difficult, because I felt like it was so interchangeable, because I felt like there were times where I had to step up to be an alpha in in what I do, as far as being a middle school teacher and also being a coach. So I feel like it's just interchangeable, where you're kind of like flip that switch. So I guess for me, it was just like innate, like to like want to be that presence, if you will, or be an alpha or sigma. So this was kind of like tricky. So I don't think more so it was from my dad. It was just more or less like, I believe the sister said it earlier, like just situational, whereas the energy that was required would be of a sigma or or alpha. So I don't know, it was just something that was just innate within how I grew up, not necessarily how I was raised, but I guess my community when I would go outside. So, yeah.
Okay, thank you. Lee, what about you?
So I think experiences, yeah, just growing up, I think, yeah, maybe, I wouldn't say I was born that way, but situations kind of mold you to be more self-reliant. And I think that's what kind of aligned me more with the Sigma archetype, more so than anything else. And I think it's more of that introverted versus extroverted interpretation of what the two of them are. It's not so much about whether you're a leader or not, but how you lead, you know what I mean? So for me, I don't really need a crowd of people. I don't really need people to follow my lead in order to have an influence on, you know, things that people might, a new perspective that somebody might have, or just helping someone to advance in something they're pursuing, you know what I mean?
Okay. Dev, what about you? You think you were raised to be an alpha?
No, I think well, my mom's your grandma, so you understand. We have a straight up alpha mother, you know that. Straight up. All right. For me, she always taught us, stand your ground, you know. Don't let nobody take what's yours. That's how I was brought up. But for the most part, I think, you know, as I said, I was born the way I am, but I think, you know, the environment adjusts you to whatever you need to be. You know, going through life, you have to make the necessary adjustments so you could get by. For example, I work for a company out in Wisconsin, and I've been there, 7 years now, and I don't think I've ever spoken to more than maybe 10 people there all the years I've been there. It's not that I don't care, but I just really don't see the need to do so, because an environment like that, you're probably never gonna see that person again. So for me, it's like, why waste time, you know, trying to be this person's friend when you know, you're probably never going to see them again. You know, it unfortunately, that's how it is. But here's the thing. The thing that I find about myself, and I have to, you know, be putting on the brakes, I think I'm the type of person that if I'm getting stuff done, like for example, you know, making a certain progress, I'm trying to encourage other people to do it, but it's not necessarily their thing. But I have the tendency to try to say, hey, come on, let us do this. Why not? Why? But sometimes people are just not interested. So you just gotta learn to, you know what, leave it alone. You know, not everybody want to do what you do, or not everybody want to believe what you believe. So no, I was not. I don't think I was raised to be a alpha, but I definitely, you know, you know, going through life, you just got to adjust for whatever is necessary. That's my take on that.
Okay.
You know, I totally get what Devon is saying because, you know, I had my salon for 25 years, right? And I didn't understand why people are tired. I said, how you tired and the job is not done? Or how you not doing this and you're not doing this? So I was trying to make everybody alpha and everybody, it just like he said, everybody wasn't really interested. But I'm like, how you not interested in being an entrepreneur? You know, some people just came to work just to make their, you know, make their little money and then that's it. So I'm looking for the next level on everything. I'm trying to level up everything. Even back when I opened my salon when I was 25 years old, I was always trying to level up on everything. But I'm trying to bring everybody into that. And I had to just chill and fall back because I got my feelings hurt often.
Right.
Often, right there. I got my feelings hurt often because I'm trying to figure out, like, why don't you want more? So basically, I wanted more for them than they wanted for themselves. So I had to chill and fall back.
But so is that emotional maturity for you to say,
That's
I have to chill and fall back?
But okay, you're looking at it like as you can say emotional maturity, but to them, it's like you're bullying them. Like you're bullying them into something that they don't want to do. So it's a fine, like kind of like love and hate. It's a real fine line. You know what I mean? So and also people don't have the mental capacity to really even conversate, have conversation with you. They don't even have the mental capacity for this conversation that we're having right now. They don't even understand it. Why y'all talk about this stuff? Why does it even matter? Now, this conversation is going to matter in 5 years. Right. It's definitely going to matter in 5 years.
I totally agree.
Time. Is it going to matter in 5 years, Rochelle?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's going to matter in 5 years. Yeah.
I agree. Any of the ladies would like to answer? Do you feel like you were raised as a beta or a gamma? You know, to be submissive women, to kneel to the will of the man and allow him to.
I'll speak. All right. I come from patriarchal background. My grandmother came here with her 3 siblings, and they were all girls. And so they moved here from another state. So, and then everyone had girls. And my grandfather died before I was born. You know, so there are just a lot of women. And because they still had to do what they had to do. And so that's what I grew up seeing. I didn't grow up seeing like, you know, like, oh, I need a curtain rod put up. I can't do it until a man does it. It needs to be done. It just gets done. And sometimes when you do that and you are in a relationship, it can come off like you don't need your partner. And that's not what it is. It's just, I got this. There's other places I'm gonna need you. It's not personal. Like we both have our strong points and our strong suits. And there were parts where I definitely fall short. And my husband, that's his lane. So I've come to respect his lane and my lane. And it just is what it is. We complement each other instead of trying to be something you're not.
Like most of you, I was definitely raised by an alpha woman. My mom is a single parent, and I had to learn a lot of things about being independent from a very young age. And she, although she definitely, I feel, leaned more towards, like I said earlier, the Sigma, and I think it's the Gamma archetypes, she was the emulation of an alpha because she was out there being a leader in her own field, and now she's an entrepreneur, and she encourages a lot of those things in me, but she also lets me know it's okay if you want to exhibit other archetypes. Like, there's nothing wrong with who I am, and if I'm successful at who I am as well. So I feel like that's that nice balance where she's encouraging me to be whatever I want to be, but lets me know that I have the qualities to be a strong leader, or to be someone who sits in the background and just admires their accomplishments from afar. So I like that balance that my mother provides me.
I was raised by, you know, an alpha woman who was trying to get me to, I would, if I had to guess, I would say be more beta. And that's where, when I said I feel that nature definitely took over as opposed to nurture, that's what I was talking about, because she was trying to raise me to be one way, and I am just completely different. And I mean, it's okay. I like the way I am. I know, like, in some ways she's probably like, this girl, like, I can't believe she's like that or she does that. But my mom accepts me. My mom knows, well, not just my mom, both of my parents know exactly who I am. And they both just accept me for it, which I think I'm pretty lucky to have that. So, yeah.
Awesome. Okay. Okay, so let's switch things over. Now that we're talking about our own personality types, and you guys have pretty much identified with what categories you feel you fit into, let's talk about relationships. Now, do you feel like, as men and women, that attraction is something that is learned, or it's evolutionary biology? There's an entire study that was done about how women are mostly attracted to a alpha male because of the way that he looks, because of the, I would say, survival instinct of our being, right? Women are meant to procreate and prolong life, so that we are seeking this masculine man that we feel will help to provide with that structure in place. He has a specific build. Just like for men, there's another study done that they like women that have curves, right? That there's this evolutionary thing behind us, this biology that plays a part in the types of people that we are attracted to, whether they be alpha male or beta and vice versa. So do you feel like attraction is something that is learned, or it is evolutionary biology?
I think it's first learned and then it should evolve. And I'll say that because my father was definitely an alpha male, and that's initially what I looked for. But then I realized I like the alpha dialed down a little bit. So it would be probably leaning more towards Sigma. Like not to be so out there and in your face all the time, and the need for that attention. So I would say it's definitely learned. And my mother is very laid back. Very smart, very brilliant, very artistic, but very laid back. Like, she definitely plays the cut. And I have a little bit of both of them. I've developed some of my fathers because I was really shy when I was younger, but that doesn't work in the real world. And then depending on what you're doing, you can't always do that. So it evolves. And as far as the attractions, again, as time goes on, you figure out what works for you and what doesn't.
I feel like society pushes us to decide what type we find most attractive. They have this idea that, this is why they always say sex sells, because they sell you that image of sex that they want you to be attracted to buy, and you carry that over into your personal life. And for me, I've always been attracted to the idea, the image of an alpha male, but the people in my life that I've been in relationships with have been more Sigmas, have been more laid back and not too much in the spotlight, not very big into social media and those kind of things. And I like that because I don't like that for myself. I don't want someone who's going to be broadcasting everything that they do and need to be acknowledged for everything that they do in their everyday life. It doesn't fit well with me, which is probably why I've never really gravitated towards having a relationship with an alpha male.
Okay. Okay, so that being said, can I ask you something with that? Now, do you feel there's a lot of bits and talks about how, a woman that is not with an alpha male is continuously seeking one because he's very much so a leader. He has his stuff together. Yes, he needs the praise and things like that, but basically he's the boss, right? When you see the boss walking in, he has everything. So women push towards that. So there's this whole thing about either you're not with an alpha because you're settling for less, or you don't feel like you can attain one. Do you feel like that's true?
No. That's the easiest answer, because I feel like society pushes us to decide what type we find most attractive. They have this idea that this is why they always say sex sells, because they sell you that image of sex that they want you to be attracted to buy, and you carry that over into your personal life. And for me, I've always been attracted to the idea, the image of an alpha male, but the people in my life that I've been in relationships with have been more sigmas, have been more laid back and not too much in the spotlight, not very big into social media and those kind of things. And I like that because I don't like that for myself. I don't want someone who's going to be broadcasting everything that they do and need to be acknowledged for everything that they do in their everyday life. It doesn't fit well with me, which is probably why I've never really gravitated towards having a relationship with an alpha male.
Okay. Okay, so that being said, can I ask you something with that? Now, do you feel there's a lot of bits and talks about how a woman that is not with an alpha male is continuously seeking one because he's very much so a leader. He has his stuff together. Yes, he needs the praise and things like that, but basically he's the boss, right? When you see the boss walking in, he has everything. So women push towards that. So there's this whole thing about either you're not with an alpha because you're settling for less, or you don't feel like you can attain one. Do you feel like that's true?
No. That's the easiest answer, because I feel like when people say that you're settling, you're falling into the societal image that they want you to fit. If you don't go for that image, then you're settling. You're never going to have what society wants you to have or what society tells you you need to have to be successful.
I think it's learned as well. I don't think we were born like, hey, I'm going to be attracted to an alpha or a sigma female. I think that's learned.
I was going to say, I found something that was interesting that talks about this topic. And I think it kind of crosses the spectrum of what we're talking about between, because a few people, I think Kim has said something about being attracted to sigmas and alphas. And this article talks about the distinctions between alphas and sigmas. So we think of alphas as, more of we think of the attraction with them because of the dominance or the dominant traits exhibited in them. But this article kind of breaks it down between two different types of dominance as an expression of behavior. It says there's dominance versus prestige. And what it talks about is most women oftentimes aren't attracted to the dominance of the alpha male or the sigma. They're attracted to the prestige. And the way that they explain the difference between those two, they say that dominance is more of like hubristic pride. It's someone who feeds off of narcissism, disagreeableness, they're neurotic, they're more concerned with aggression, hostility, and manipulation. Whereas prestige is someone who has authentic pride. They're more concerned with self-confidence and actual success and being, a healthy conduit or resource for their social circles and things like that. And what it talks about is oftentimes those are the traits in dominant personalities that women were, because they did a study basically, and they found that women in this study found those authentic traits, or those traits associated with authentic pride, more attractive than the ones that were associated with hubris.
Okay, so Lee, for you, for example, do you feel like you're attracted to alpha females, or are you attracted to beta females mostly? Like, look at your history of who you dated.
That's what I'm saying. On that topic, I think I'm attracted to somebody who is authentically prideful. They don't need to be prideful because of, whatever they believe themselves to be. They're genuinely confident. You know what I'm saying? They don't need to be arrogant. They don't need to exhibit dominance over people. you could just tell by their aura and the way they carry themselves, you know, the value that they bring to the table kind of thing. You know what I'm saying? So I think in that way, it kind of goes both ways. Both parties, both sexes are really in a healthy relationship, at least, is more attracted to somebody who is authentically prideful of themselves. You know what I mean?
Okay, so wait, let's dissect that, right? So when you were in high school, right,
Yep.
or you were in elementary school, every girl wanted to talk to who? The high school athlete, right? That's the guy that got the girls, right? So he's perceived as this alpha male in that role. He's athletic, he's sporty, he's confident in who he is and what he is, and he ain't stressing these girls out here because he can get another one. So
Right.
so every guy wants to be him and all the girls want to date him. So then the nice guy finish last thing comes into place, right? Because you're not the alpha, right? You're not that outburst going guy. So you're laid back. So girls aren't really checking for you like that because you're not really out there like that. They're seeking this guy that is perceived to be the alpha. So
So when it
that
breaks
being
it down,
said, do you
right?
feel like
So when it breaks it down is basically, if you want to give a sports reference or even a political reference, it's kind of like the difference between a Kobe Bryant and LeBron James. You know, a lot of women are attracted to Kobe Bryant physically. They think that's my man, that would be my husband. But in practice, in reality, you know, what he requires of you as a mate, he's typically more, well, what we know of Kobe is different than what we presumed him to be in the past. But we'll say someone what we thought Kobe was like before we learned more about him. If Kobe was more domineering and you found that he wanted more control over your everyday moves, you know, things like that, he's still a domineering personality who's going to take care of the family. He's going to do all the things you need him to do. And he's a staple in his community and in his business, but he's exhibiting more dominance over the people around him. Would you be more attracted to that personality type or somebody, let's say, more like a LeBron James, who is more giving? He's more pro-social, agreeable, conscious of his partner, you know, things like that. So it's different types of basically dominance that are expressed in these different types. And it's more so, which one would people have more of an affinity to? You know what I mean?
I understand. I'm just saying back then.
Or another better example is Trump.
Right.
You know
Right.
what I'm saying? Like, would you be attracted to Trump's form of dominance as opposed to, we'll say, maybe Obama's? You know what I'm saying?
So we're talking about emotional maturity, right? So
Right.
emotional maturity would say that the nice guy finished last, he's gonna try to be an alpha. He gonna come to school fly, he gonna get his game together because he won shorties. He's not necessarily an alpha, just like the alpha in that athletic role isn't necessarily an alpha. He's playing an alpha in that specific situation on the court, right? So my
Right.
question really is, do you feel like you were either trying to be an alpha or you were like, oh, in high school going, nah, if they're not checking for me, then it's okay. Like you didn't want to be the guy.
I think for me personally, I was always a Sigma. I don't think there was ever a point in my life when I wasn't. And so, yeah, I wouldn't have ever been in either of those categories. I was always somebody who, yeah, I would say definitely claimed more to the Sigma side of things than anything. I was always an introvert, which is probably why, but not in a way where I was antisocial. You know what I mean? Like I was typically always involved with the crowd, but I always usually did my own thing.
The answer is yes. In school, I felt like I was invisible. And I've always admired this one guy. Without effort, girls just flocked to him. And I wanted to be him, but the trouble is, after an analysis, I didn't have any of the qualities he had. So I set out on a path to find out how could I command the attentions of female. And I don't know, for me, it was just being smart. And it took me years, but I found my own way. And I would say definitely right now, I am, because of life experiences, I would consider myself an alpha male, yes.
You know, it's a thin line between arrogance and confidence. And I find myself being attracted to both. Believe it or not.
At least you're honest, right? At least you're honest.
Transparent, because I like that, that I like the lion in the room and, and all of that. And I know that I am that way too, right? But what I feel like at the same time, that two alphas together is kind of,
takes a lot of emotional maturity.
yeah, because my ex-husband is used to being a king and I'm used to being a queen. And he wasn't going to let me out king him and I wasn't going to let him out queen me. So it just wasn't, you know what I mean? So, that was a real, it got to be a real difficult situation because I wasn't bowing down and he wasn't bowing down. So, but now I'm feeling like I'm in that place where I'm ready to throw the towel in. Like I want to submit, but I need to know what I'm submitting to. I feel like these guys these days, they want us to submit and they want us to give and this and that. But give me something to follow. I'll follow you, bro, all day, anywhere. But I need something, something of some substance that's going to make me feel secure. So if that's a Sigma man, an Alpha man, or whatever you want to identify as, I just need to feel like I am going to be secure in this relationship. That's
emotional maturity is what you want.
Yeah. If you arrogant, if you whatever you want to be secure, whatever that is, like bring me in and just and show me something different because I'm open to learn. I'm open to learn. Okay. Teach me the ways.
My experience taught me what works. You see that person you could be with, or you could be as silly as you want. That's the person. You could be as stupid as you like around that person. That is the person.
But what I think is the person that if you have an imperfection, like, I don't know, maybe you ate something, your breath stinks, maybe you didn't put on enough deodorant or something, they be like, yo, you need to go and check, bro, your breath is a little, and I'll be like, oh, really? Check me. Like, don't just let me walk around thinking, oh, I'm not right. You know what I'm saying? I respect that to the other. I'm not gonna look at that no way because I feel like you're really taking care of me. You know what I mean? Because everybody else is talking about it. Everybody else, maybe it's just that one little thing where I just like, well, I don't smell it that way. But if you smell it that way, bring it to my attention. Bring it to the forefront.
Absolutely.
I agree.
Yes.
I am married to an alpha, definitely. But here's what makes it work. I just let her do her thing. It's not that I'm submitting to let her be, but I just listen, as long as you're not offending me, do you. Because even the other day I was messing with her, like, you're a Karen at times, right? And she's like, really? I'm like, yeah, you have your Karen moments. And she's like, really now? Like, yep.
Yeah.
but whenever you're with that person, and you could just be yourself, that is the secret. At least for me, that is it.
Yes, yeah. And it's like this Chinese myth said that says a Chinese saying that you can live your life as a princess, a prisoner, or you can just decide to just be yourself. And when you decide to just be yourself, it's so much gratifying than it is now. I've experienced both. I've lived a life where I felt like a princess. I've lived a life where I felt like I was a prisoner, and I've lived a life now where I'm just being myself. Like it really just is what it is. And this is so much better than all the other BS.
And that's the place I am at right now. I'm not trying to impress nobody.
Right.
I'm just doing me.
Exactly.
Right. I'm respectfully being me.
Right.
I'm not offending no one. I'm not trying to overstep my bounds or anything like that. But I'm just doing me. Make sure my family is good. Everybody around me knows that they're good, and that's it, man.
Right. And sometimes when people see the authentic you, it's offensive to them. But what I'm doing for me is not against you. I'm just doing me. I'm just doing me. I'm not doing anything against you. I ain't thinking about you, bro, at all. I'm just doing me. But sometimes people take it as an offense. Oh, she's arrogant, or she's this, or every time she comes, she always got to look away. That's the alpha come out. When the alpha just come out whenever she wants. Like you can't control that. It's just your personality. And if it's just something that it may be a part of you that just don't mesh with other people, it just don't. Like you're not gonna fit in every situation.
So that being said, why is it that do you feel that who you are should be offensive to anyone else? Like being your true self, whether that's in a working environment, at home, you're out in the street, you being who you are being offensive to other people. Like, is that a you issue? Is that a they issue? Like, how do we really solve that issue?
Well, you can't really solve that issue because it's an issue that they have. It's something that's in them that you have. It's none of your business. It's none of your business what they're feeling about you. It's none of your business of what they say. That's really none of your business, because when you make that your business, that's gonna take you out of your alpha. It's gonna put you in an archetype that's not even you, because now you're trying to be someone else to satisfy other people, in which that's not gonna work either. You know, so it's not a me issue. That's their issue, because I'm gonna be who I'm gonna be regardless. And now I understand, because I didn't know I was an alpha before. I didn't know. I wasn't connected to it at all. Not at all. So then when I started to read about the types, I said, oh, I'm alpha all day, because I need my stuff done in a timely fashion. So when I ask you to do something, I don't need it done. If you can't do it like now, like right now, then I can just do it myself. So, but you also, alpha women tend to attract a little more feminine men, you know? And so I want to tone it down where I can, you know, because usually I'm always saying, oh, I can carry my own bags. Or I could just do this for myself, and I could just do that for myself. But I'm learning to just chill and let them be the man.
It's
I
hard.
don't have to be a man.
It's very hard to do.
It's very hard to do, but we need to get connected to that, because we're going to continue to always attract the things that we don't want.